Born right in this hospital right here.
Police Detective Dave Clark knows his way around Mount Vernon.
We gotta come together. All right, later, love.
He was born and raised here, but his life took an unexpected turn 20 years ago after his younger brother Devin was killed in the city.
But I ride around with him every day. I have a pendant with his picture on my chest.
That experience changed him and his sister.
Losing him definitely sparked our interest in law enforcement.
He and his sister both became cops. She with the NYPD, he with the Mount Vernon Police Department. Nearly 15 years later, he heads up the force's training unit. How do you navigate both worlds, being a black man and a police officer?
People don't want to touch the elephant in the room, which is racism and systemic racism. And one of the biggest places that it is in policing.
Hands up, don't shoot!
In the aftermath of George Floyd's death, the nation is demanding changes in law enforcement. What was your first reaction when you saw that George Floyd video?
Honestly, it made me sick to my stomach.
I do this thing a day at a time. That's it.
You could say Paulie Venito is in a hurry.
You better be able to walk fast, because I'm a flight attendant. We walk fast.
We joined the retired flight attendant on a leg of his more than 200-mile trek.
I want to stay focused on why I'm doing this.
As he pushed an airline beverage cart across the state line into Westchester County.
I'm just a guy pushing a cart.
His journey started 2 weeks ago at Logan International Airport in Boston and will end on this September 11th at Ground Zero. It's the same path the crew of United Flight 175 took 20 years ago.
We know what those terrorists did on those airplanes from the phone calls that were made.
It was a one-way flight.
At one point, they knew they weren't going home.
A flight Paulie could have been on if he hadn't worked the weekend before.
This is the crew from 175. I knew this whole crew. That was a captain, first officer.
A crew of friends lost. The pain of it all leading to a more than decade-long struggle with addiction.
I realized my whole emotions were being numbed out. I never dealt with 9/11 emotional.
He says in 2015, a miracle happened.
The obsession was lifted. The obsession was lifted. And I knew at that point, 6 years ago, that I was going to recognize these guys.
That's his mission, to pay tribute to these brave flight attendants.
How can we not, as Americans, recognize them as heroes? They fought terrorism that morning.
A reason Paulie wants future generations to know their story.
When I first saw that, these little kids go, Paulie go, oh, see, I get emotional. Because I know that their parents had them out there and to tell them the story of 9/11.
Paulie's push is to truly never forget these heroes.
She was the person that morning, Catherine, Al, Amy, Michael, Amy.
No matter how many steps it takes.
If I enjoy where I'm at, right here.
In Rye.
How are you?
Nadia Galindo.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
News 12.
Never forget.
Never forget.
Running away to the circus
10 rings.
isn't as romantic as it sounds when it means you may never see your family again.
It was a really hard time for me.
Anastasia Savich is one of 4 Ukrainian women who left their homes and families in the midst of war to perform across the U.S. for Flip Circus.
When I was on the train station, it was so hard to me to say goodbye to my parents because I'm not sure if I see them or not.
She's just 20 years old, from Kyiv. But she's already performed around the world. She joined a circus academy at 15, entranced by how special it feels to dance here rather than on a normal stage. Her fellow performers have become family. They say these girls were almost constantly in tears when they first met.
It's very hard for them, and we try to be close to them, support.
Brothers Ronnie and Steve Bello know what it's like to leave family behind in Italy. And they went through their own hard time during the height of the pandemic there.
It was very bad. I remember I was closed in the apartment. I mean, I was inside, we couldn't get out.
It's why he and all of these circus artists are so excited to welcome you, to help you forget, even if just for a moment, some of the world's troubles.
When Lou painted and repaired the first floor, he used his fingers to make the texture here. June 1st, 2019, we closed on the property, and we began construction on June 2nd, 2019, and we haven't stopped ever since.
Lou Gehrig bought this house for his parents, and he gifted it to them with the intention of renovating it himself. He said, I'm gonna have this place looking good as new. And he put a lot of love into it, so we tried to keep up that spirit with our 4 kids. We wanted it to be a family home.
They had a piece of wood going across, and when we were restoring the trim, we found them hiding and we refinished them. It's very important to restore this house. I think it's a huge part of the community. Ever since day one, people have been visiting on the front lawn, watching us, eyes all over. And I'm also a big Lou Gehrig and Yankee fan, so it's very personal to me to make sure that the originality was preserved. The story that he used to wash his uniforms down in the basement and it would all wash into this bathtub. So we picked it up from there. It took about 6 guys, very heavy bathtub. Brought it outside, cleaned it up, restored it to its original look, and now it's usable. Our kids have actually bathed in this bathtub several times. I guess in this shot he didn't have a basketball hoop. So he was standing outside of this window on a step stool, grabbing a piece of siding from his friend while replacing it above. These hooks up here are the original hooks that would hold the bench swing that was here. Mr. and Mrs. Gehrig, after their wedding and some other evenings of them sitting here on that bench swinging and enjoying the view of the front porch.
People do come here and feel that this is like a place that's close to Lou Gehrig and that kind of holds his memory and holds his history, and now they have something a little bit better to look at.
It is the original bench. I redid these benches and the floor 3 times in 3 years. Just wanted to get it perfect. What I would say is that through all of it, my wife has definitely been a great support and partner in this adventure, and I would do it all over again.
Definitely.
She was known worldwide as the First Lady of Song, but the roots of Ella Fitzgerald are planted in Yonkers, and today that jazz great has a school named after her.
And photojournalist Kurt Fisher takes us to the Ella Fitzgerald Academy.
It's very exciting because obviously Ella Fitzgerald is a huge name, a wonderful musician, and so this just means a lot to our school because she was a student here, but also we're honoring music and the arts in our school as well.
Formerly School 18, also known as was Scholastic Academy, now known as the Ella Fitzgerald Academy for Excellence.
The arms, the love of you.
Ella Fitzgerald Academy will become the heart of this neighborhood.
To celebrate the fact that she lived right here in Yonkers, that she was just like you and me.
Ella Fitzgerald loved the arts. She loved to learn.
She just kept opening her mouth. And beauty and joy came out.
She was here in this room, learning, just like you were.
It don't need a thing. All you got to do is swing. Shoo up, shoo up, do up, do up, do up, do up, do up, do up.
It's just amazing how we have this to help us.
Far from the conventional textbook history class is a lesson to remember.
Claudette Colvin and Rosa Parks, they both did the same thing. They refused to give their seat up on the bus.
Roman is one of many elementary students at Richard J. Bailey School who is thankful to engage with foundational footsteps in Black history that is literally written on the walls.
Every time we walk down here, we can kind of be reminded, hey, look who this is, look what the amazing things they've done.
From the start of Black History Month, Black colleges to industry trailblazers who continue to pave the path for students as they walk through the Black History Hall of Fame.
And a lot of people don't know who these amazing figures are.
That's why the school continues for this second year, where students can simply stroll the halls surrounded with Black inspiration.
There were teachers back in that time that they can be inspired by to become teachers themselves. So that was the whole goal and the purpose.
Integrating pivotal people and milestone moments, like this collective mural of inspiring historical figures made by students themselves.
I did Jackie Robinson. He was the first black man to be on a major league. I guess I can say I'm really proud of mine.
And why did you make Louis Armstrong?
Because I like his music. I like his What a Wonderful World.
Between art class, music, and more, it's a history lesson seeped into different facets of this month's curriculum to remember the past and stride to the future.
They want to be doctors, lawyers, they want to be teachers, principals, whatever it is. And these are people who have had these positions in the past that they can be inspired by and say, I can do that also.
Hi! Hi, girls. Welcome to Baked in Color.
Pride Month is the holiday season for Baked in Color in Larchmont.
No matter what they get with the cookies, you have to get a brownie. June is our #1 month. December is our #2. We ship nationwide.
Clearly because of their unique, colorful cookies and brownies.
In addition to chocolate chip, we've got the cookies and cream that's stuffed with Oreos. And
Founder and CEO Julie Waxman says this month they're giving 10% of their profits back to the community that's helping her business boom.
We donate a percentage of our sales to the Trevor Project, whose mission it is to combat suicide.
This opportunity to give back during Pride Month fell on Julie's lap. The cookie extraordinaire worked in corporate retail for 20 years.
It was very entrepreneurial and creative. And then I was ready for something new.
And decided to go back to her college roots.
I had a cookie business. It was called Quickie Cookie.
But this time, Julie was determined to turn your typical chocolate chip cookies into rainbows.
Hundreds of test batches later, Baked in Color was born.
She created a website and baked thousands of cookies free of charge for friends and family to get the word out.
Immediately, social media influencers took notice. It took off right away. We opened a place in Manhattan at Columbus Circle. That was great. We had to close during COVID, unfortunately.
But when one door closes,
hi guys, good morning.
Another opens. Fast forward to last month, Julie opened up her new shop in Larchmont.
And we're so excited to be here and get the community in.
And they're shipping out orders nationwide. Julie is happy to be doing what she loves.
Thank you.
And help others no matter who they love or who they are.
We sell rainbows all year round, but Pride is really near and dear to our brand and to our hearts.
In Larchmont, Samantha Crawford, News 12.
Esse é o torta de brigadeiro.
Yeah, I'll take one.
Okay, to go, right? This is a chocolate chip cookie with a brigadier inside.
It's Carolina Figueiredo's passion to bring her Brazilian culture to Westchester.
We have cupcakes with dulce de leche.
One cheese bread and pastry at a time.
Sometimes we use like an American recipe and put a Brazilian twist on it.
There's so many unique flavors in Valeria Brazilian Bakery in Mamaroneck.
Here you go.
But Carolina used to only bake for fun. Believe it or not, she worked at Citibank for nearly 15 years.
A gente tem aquelas opções ali. Quer que eu te mostre?
Until she had an annual doctor's visit in 2015.
She suggested me doing the mammogram. It was the first time. And I said, why not? Let's get it done, right? And so they saw something. And then with further exams, I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Your first mammogram?
First mammogram.
Her cancer was invasive and required months of chemo and radiation therapy.
That's really when I thought about doing something different. You know, seeing people. You know, seeing what is the weather like outside the office.
It's cherishing those little moments that we often overlook when life is perfect.
Exactly, yeah.
She decided to finally do what made her happy, and that was baking professionally. Carolina attended culinary school in London and Manhattan, and then set up shop in 2020. Cancer will always be a part of Carolina's past, but that's all it is now, the past.
Sometimes bad thing happens, but if you learn from that, and if you use this in a good way, it's gonna change your life for better, actually.
In Mamaroneck, Samantha Crawford, News 12.